Do you ever have a video game that you keep coming back to through all the years? Whether it's Generation Zero, Dying Light, Minecraft, or World of Warcraft, maybe even Elder Scrolls Online or Fallout 76. We all have games that keep us coming back. And for me, that's been No Man's Sky for the past, like 6 years now or something like that. And I think it's because of No Man's Sky that I believe games like Generation Zero and Cyberpunk 2077 or even Far Cry 6 with its latest buggy update can turn things around in a massive way and build games into something that is, even though potentially flawed, still a game you can come back to for years of enjoyment. So lately, I've been thinking that this would be an amazing game for me to pick up on my channel here. Since the early Foundation update all the way till now, there have been 17 major updates to No Man's Sky since its initial launch, and even though some of the updates have been a little bit controversial and potentially introduced new bugs along the way, each of these updates have been a solid inclusion building on No Man's Sky to a fever point here that has made an incredibly flushed out and polished video game, considering the fact that this was not a AAA video game in the first place, but very much plays and feels like a AAA next generation video game with where it's at now come the Frontiers update. It's crazy how much the game has grown and will keep growing as the next few years go by, and I feel there's a ton of untapped potential in No Man's Sky, from pretty wild PvP potential in combat arenas, to massive scale racing builds, to an insane plan that I have for an entire galaxy here. But before we start getting to that, it'll be good to get a bit of a fresh start here so that those that haven't yet checked out No Man's Sky can get like a taste of the early game before we jump into my massive 200-hour save here. And what better way to start than with an expedition? Expeditions see you completing tasks for unique rewards in a separate world that starts you from scratch. This expedition's big reward is the Normandy from Mass Effect, which I'm totally looking to cop as I missed the first run of this event earlier this year. We have 5 phases to complete with this expedition, so we'll probably be looking at about 5 kind of episodes of this expedition before we start getting into my main save here. And each of these expeditions comes with a smattering of goals, about 5 goals per, and we'll be going through each of these and unlocking new rewards along the way. With each of these that we complete, we get ourselves rewards that we can use for our suit and for upgrading our ship and the various exocrafts that we'll be unlocking and crafting along the way as well. Now, I've already gone through the motions of going off and finding my starship. It was like 5 minutes away from where I started, and I've gathered up a little bit of ferrite here. We don't quite have enough resources, though, to complete our first task, so we're gonna have to go off and do just a little bit of grinding to gather up the ferrite dust that we need along the way here. Now, the starting planet that we've started on here actually has dihydrogen as a secondary resource we can get from rocks with pure ferrite. And this is going to be super useful because we're going to have to use the dihydrogen to create launch fuel for our starship in order to get off of this planet that is currently melting all my flesh off with a rainstorm. We don't get massive amounts of the secondary resource from things that we mine currently, but eventually that stuff is all going to pick up. But the other major thing that we need is just plain ferrite dust. So we're gonna go around and mine up these minerals, pick ourselves up a whole bunch of ferrite dust so that way we can make as many metal plates as we need, because metal plates are a pretty essential piece. It's pretty much like a fundamental building block for most of the things that we're going to be crafting along the way here. Alright, so the superheated rainstorm's finally gone and I can go outside in peace. Let's scan these rocks up really quick and earn ourselves some really quick units so that way we'll have some spending money when we start heading out and hitting up some space stations and stuff like that along the way. Alright, now I think we should have enough to craft, what was it, 3 metal plates for the exocraft station that we're going to be building? Let's pull this guy on out. It was 5. Alright, the 5 metal plates that we need for this nomad station. Boom! There we go! Nice! Did we get the thing? Or do we have to jump in it first? Yeah, there we go. Sick. Nomad's not my favorite exocraft, but it's definitely not one of the worst ones. Really quickly, we're going to pick this guy back up, because these are resources that we're going to need along the way, so we can't really leave things behind too much. And I think we're going to leave the rewards that we get from these expedition things until we get to the very end of the episode here. But the next thing that we need to focus on is liftoff, which means that we need to get this ship up and running here. Right now, we've got just 2 broken pieces of it, the pulse engine and the launch thruster. I think in a normal playthrough, everything's broken in it, so we're actually getting a bit of an easier start here with the expedition. But the only thing that we need to make is 1 hermetic seal, as well as 1 dihydrogen jelly. And luckily enough, because we've been mining that dihydrogen there, we should be able to craft ourselves up. Oh, dude, we're like 4 short. Okay, 2 rocks. 2 freaking rocks. Where are you? Gib, dihydrogen. Gib. Slurp up as much dihydrogen as we can here. Oh man, are we really gonna be like 1 short here? No way, dude. Whoa, hey. We're 2 short. Dang it. Gib. Slurp. Freaking dihydrogen, man. Come on. 2. 5. Alright. Take it. We'll take it. Let's make the dihydrogen. Boom. There we go. And now we can repair our launch thruster. And as well, we picked up the pure ferrite that we need, 2 from the rocks that we were just mining. Alright, the next thing we need is to gather up carbon so that way we can create those hermetic seals. We're going to actually refine this carbon and process it into condensed carbon, which is going to be the main crafting material for those seals. Pop this on over into our exosuit. And let's see if we can craft that hermetic seal. We can indeed. To the starship. Let's fix up that. Put in the metal plating. And there we go. Our ship is now ready to be flown. And we can get off this freaking planet, man. Let's go, man. Luckily enough, we had a bit of fuel in the launch thruster already, so we could just take off and we don't need to make any starship fuel. That's going to be a problem for future Tenebris to solve. Now, the next problem that we need to get to is finding ourselves a frigate, because our next milestone to complete requires us to make a warp drive jump with a frigate. Do we already? We already have a freighter, and I was calling it a frigate there, but we already have a freighter. What the heck, dude? Never mind. Cheers. I'll take it, man. Expeditions are cool. Normally you'd have to grind to get one of these. Hop through a couple galaxies or something. Awesome, man. And it's pretty nice that we're starting off with a cargo ship, too. The actual spaceship that we're using. It's gonna greatly benefit us storage-wise. Alright, so we're kind of just blazing through phase 1 right now. All we gotta do is reach the bridge of our freighter here, and then we'll be completing our next milestone, and we'll only have 1 more milestone left after that point. What up, dude? So, let's see. I'm willing to bet that the freighter already has fuel in it, Does it? It does not. Oh, dude. Okay, so we gotta craft ourselves a warp cell, which is pretty handy, actually. So really quickly, I didn't mean to craft that, but that's okay. Can always use that in the future. We need an antimatter housing, as well as a piece of antimatter, which might be normally a little bit tough to find in the early game, but we have a method of getting antimatter just right off the bat here, by recycling some of these drums and cargo crates. We didn't get anything really worthwhile from the crate, and we don't have any Atlas passes, so it's much better for us to just kind of take them for their resources. Bada bing, bada boom. And there we go. We now should have at least a little bit of antimatter to play around with. Yeah, 3. Excellent. And with that, now we've got our first warp cell, which we can use to refuel our hyperdrive. And then we've made it out of the system, dude. So getting to the galactic map here, let's take a look at where we actually have to get to, which isn't too far. It's only a couple jumps away. I've crafted up a little bit more fuel out of the antimatter that we got out of our crates there, so we should be able to make the journey pretty much just in this one go here. Alright, dude, what are we coming into with this galaxy? I don't think we're gonna do too much sightseeing as we go around. I don't think that that's gonna benefit us too much. There we go, though. One more milestone, and we've completed phase 1, man. Oh, hey! What up, dude? Dude hooked me up with a free construction unit, too. What a homie. But we only have one more jump left to make here. So let's see where we're going to next. The other thing, too, this galaxy doesn't have too much to offer us. There's no space station or anything like that to stop off at. Do we have to make 2 jumps? Buddy. We have just enough fuel to make the final jump off to the rendezvous point, but first off, we're going to stop at the space station here and just pick up a warp point. We aren't going to be doing any shopping or anything like that because we don't have the funds just yet. But it will be very useful to pick up the warp point here, just in case if we need to jump back at any point in time. Space stations are usually one of the best places to go to just to pick up a few languages, or a few words of the language, so it's going to be pretty essential for us to carry a couple space stations with us, just in case if any of the milestone rewards require us to learn a bunch of words of a language. Okay, now finally time for the final jump. We have just enough fuel to make it, so in the next part of this, we're going to probably have to focus on creating some antimatter and getting some really solid foundation beneath us before we take on the rest of this expedition. Five planets, 1 moon, very nice. And it seems like there's quite a bit of conflict in this system too, which we could take advantage of. Now it's time to get off to the first rendezvous point. I'm not too sure what we're going to be encountering here and what we're going to be getting into. Sometimes players build up a little bit around rendezvous points and sometimes they don't, so I guess it just kind of depends on what the vibe and the mood of the expedition's been so far. Make our way on down. Frozen planet. It's not too bad. The sodium will be potentially helpful. The copper and dioxide, well, we could use the copper actually. I believe we could refine that all the way to antimatter if we focused on it a little bit. I think we're going to do our base building on our freighter too, so that way we just have some on-the-fly processing and all of that sort of jazz. But that is a problem for future Tenebris. For now, what really matters is landing on this big, spiky, frozen planet. What the heck are all these spikes doing, dude? I was gonna say this planet reminded me of, like, Hoth and stuff. Ice planets usually do, but not with these spikes. And not with the orange water, either. Freaking orange soda. Lakes of orange soda, dude. Alright, let's land here really quickly. And see what we're getting into. Looks like somebody even put up a settlement here. It doesn't seem like super built up, but it definitely seems like some people decided to pop a squad. This is just kind of weird. Okay, so we have to use our target visor to figure out where we're going to. And it seems like we've got quite a jog to go that way, so I think I'm going to use my spaceship to kind of cut down that travel time there. Oh, dude! I was scanning things and I just got a milestone. Sick. Handy. That's the thing, too. Potentially, this could be less than 5 parts because we might be able to wombo combo a whole bunch of milestones together in one. Now, it said it was about 1,000 units this way. So let's just fly along and see where we come to here. A welcome center and gift shop. Dude, what? That's what I was saying, man. I don't know if we'll do anything crazy for this expedition, but maybe in future expeditions we might actually go pretty ham. Dude, gravitinos and everything? Sick. Don't mind if I do. My pinty little inventory can't even do it, dude. Did somebody set up a shop here? Yes. Perfect. Well, there we go. That's potentially all of our money problems solved right then and there. Just $500,000. Take it. And we got another milestone. Sick. I will absolutely take that as well. I think I see it off in the distance here. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, jeez. That was spicy. Yeah, I think I see it off in the distance here, though. This giant monolith-looking thing. There's a message board here, too. Sick. Oh, dude, okay, so it's like one of those big warp points. Cool. I don't think we'll be doing any sort of, like, inter-universal stuff. So we might not need to use this too much. But you never know. You never know when one of these is going to come in handy. Especially if it's asking for, like, any sort of S-class things. Boom! Welcome to the first rendezvous. Hey. Cheers, my friend. Okay, so now we get to do the fun part, which is just picking up all of the rewards from all of these milestones along the way. There's a bunch of upgrade modules that we'll have to get to in the next episode, but for now, the resources that we're getting primarily are going to be the most useful thing that we'll get from all of this. Especially that Starship launch fuel. I probably could have used that earlier, but either way, let's go through, pick up our rewards now. Right. Gotta have the HUD on in order to pick up the rewards. There we go. Freaking condensed carbon, first milestone. That's just telling us about the upgrade module and how we can put that into our Nomad when we need to. Next up, let's pick up the Starship. All that launch fuel is going to come in handy pretty much immediately in the next episode. As well, we get a new slot, so let's pick up that slot. Ease some of our storage woes. Let's go for liftoff. Another storage augmentation, 2 of them actually, and 300 nanites. Not too bad. Next up, we get the blueprint for a warp hypercore, a bunch of warp hypercores, bunch of silver, whole bunch of stuff, man. I guess the final rewards of the, like, final milestones will be giving us even better stuff along the way here. Alright, sick. And the final rendezvous reward. Let's go. Multi-tool expansion slot. Could definitely do for that. 3 inventory slots. Awesome. Friggin', let's go, dude. Awesome, man. Some pretty solid progress here, I think. So, there we go, my dudes. The first episode of the Beachhead Expedition. Hopefully you all have enjoyed it, and hopefully you're stoked for some No Man's Sky content on my channel here. This has a ton of potential, from community events to live streams to short and long-standing series and live stream series and stuff like that. So, hopefully you all are excited for what's in store with No Man's Sky here on my channel. But for now, thank you very much for watching, stay awesome, and I will catch you all in the next one. Until then, peace.